Hello and welcome to Fanshawe College's virtual open house. My name is Bruno Rodrigues and I work in the international office. And I will be the host for today's session. Uh, Before we start today's sessions, I would like to review a few housekeeping items. Audience webcam and mics are turned off. If you have any question through this session, please submit with the question feature. To open the question feature, click on the question mark. Following the session, we will have a live Q&A. After this session, if you still have any question, you can submit to myfeature@fanshawe.ci or book an appointment with us. If you have multiple programs open and running, it might compromise your webinar experience. We recommend you to take a moment now to close any open programs before you begin today's session. I would like to introduce Bill Reid, who is going to speak about sport and event marketing at Fanshawe College. I'll be back again for the Q&A. Now I'm going to pass it over to Bill Reid.
Okay, thank you very much, Bruno, and welcome to everybody that's on this session. I'm going to spend the next probably close to 15 minutes taking you through some of the information relative to our program here at Fanshawe. So, as Bruno had alluded to, my name is Bill Reid. I'm the program coordinator of the brand new graduate certificate in sport and event marketing. I've been teaching at Fanshawe myself for probably over 15 years now, predominantly in the human resources management programs. I do run a hockey development company in my spare time, if you will, which gives me that kind of connection to the sport industry and sport environment. So we've been building this program over the last, I'd say, 1.5 to 2 years. And it's recently just launched for its first semester this past fall. And obviously we've got a winter intake coming in for the upcoming January semester as well. So I'm going to take you through a lot of the detail that relates to the program. And then as Bruno had spoke to, that there'll be a question period at the end of the presentation as well. So the Sport and Event Marketing Graduate Certificate Program is a 3-semester program with a total of 13 courses. So it's 6 courses per semester in semesters 1 and 2. And then in semester 3, there's an internship component that I'll speak a little bit more to in an upcoming slide. There are full-time and limited part-time options available in the program. In our first intake in the fall semester, we actually only had 13 students in that intake, in part due to the challenges that revolved around the pandemic. But we didn't have any part-time options available. And I know with international students, that won't necessarily play a part in that, but just to give you a little bit of the landscape of what the cohort or the intake would look like. For example, in the winter semester, there are going to be 5 seats available for part-time registrations. So most students would be there on a full-time basis, but the landscape can change semester to semester. The program is currently running online. So when we first developed the program, it was developed in a blended format where it was a portion of online versus face-to-face delivery in each course. We've quickly been able to adjust to the current situation and offer all of our programming in a fully online environment. Now, having said that, we do have what we call a synchronous component to it, where each class we have a dedicated 1-hour period where the instructor, the professor, is going to be online with the students, and they are recorded sessions as well, and they're made available to students after those sessions are done. We have live client projects and what we call signature learning experiences built into the program. So in a variety of courses, we have organizations that will either come in and speak to students, or there'll be specific project-based work that will be included in the course that will relate to an organization's real-life challenges. I've personally, as the coordinator of the program, I've been pulling together a virtual guest speaker series that's going to begin in the winter of 2021. I thought I'd kind of hold off on it in the fall just because we have so few students in the fall. They're going to be there in the winter semester anyways, and then we're going to have a new intake in the winter semester. So I think it's perfect timing to introduce. It'll be 1 or 2 speakers per month that will come in from a variety of areas around, not just the London region, but outside of the London region, to speak to students on specific topics that relate to sport and event marketing. And then I did mention the internship component. So level 3 or semester 3 of the program includes a 490-hour internship, which is equivalent to approximately 35 hours per week over a 12-week period. But it's important to note that it is a course in itself, and there is a requirement for the students to complete that to graduate. So I'm really working with the students to try and have them find their own internships I've got a lot of connections as well that I can kind of introduce some internship opportunities to students, but I really want them to go out there and network and make those connections to try and develop relationships where they could potentially get an internship out of it in level 3 of the program. So this just gives you an overview of the courses and the program. So you'll see level 1 and 2, they're basically semester 1 and 2. And we have courses that are just, more generalized marketing courses, marketing design. We get into the specialized areas of sport and entertainment and event marketing. But we also have some kind of unique courses, Google Analytics, for example. There's quite a footprint in this program that's built around social media and around technology, which is really an advanced kind of perspective when you're developing and delivering a program like this. And then there are other areas too of study around sponsorship and nonprofit event marketing, leadership, sport media and public relations, and then the course in itself on international sport marketing. So personally, I will be teaching the winter semester. I'll be teaching the level 2 course on ethics, issues, and trends in sports marketing. So what to expect at Fanshawe College? Programs will vary depending on courses that are taken and structure of a program. But in this program in particular, there will be approximately 18 hours of classes per week. So 3 hours per class over 6 classes. The classes are really designed and meant to be interactive. So there are some assignments that you complete individually. There are others that you may complete in groups. And then we use a variety of different technology platforms. It could be our learning management system is Fanshawe Online, but we also use Zoom and WebEx and Bongo to support the daily technology experience that the student will go through. And then in addition to classroom time per se, there's approximately 15 to 20 hours of homework or assignments per week, kind of, readings and completing little assignments that you may have to complete in preparation for attending class. Be aware of due dates is one of the big kind of pieces of advice I can give students, is that if you get behind the 8 ball on that, it becomes really challenging trying to catch up and kind of stay on top of things and produce quality work. And as I had alluded to earlier, most classes will run 3 hours per class, but of the 3 hours, there may just be 1 hour that's dedicated to synchronous delivery. And then the other 2 would be kind of completed on your own time asynchronously. So what do graduates of the program do? There's a variety of things graduates can do. You see a list of them here. Some students may have a particular interest in sales, for example, or even some students may want to get into broadcasting and journalism, right? Or students want to get into branding and work for companies like Adidas or Nike. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do. Other students may have more of an interest in facilities management as opposed to professional sports or amateur sports. So the sky's the limit. And in some cases, for example, you could work, let's say, in a retail setting in a sports environment, and you could network or connect with people that are working for specific companies that cater to that organization, that develop more opportunities down the road working for other organizations. So a lot of the success comes around networking and meeting other people and the opportunities that are created from that. So this just gives you a little bit of a snapshot of some of our affiliates. Some of these logos you may not be familiar with, others you may be familiar with, depending on what area of the world you're from. One of the most notable kind of global logos that you would see there would be the MLSE logo, which is Maple Leaf in Sports and Entertainment. So that would encompass kind of the Toronto Raptors of the NBA and the Toronto Maple Leafs of the NHL, and they have a whole host of other conglomerates that are associated with their big enterprise. The London Knights are one of the premier teams in the Ontario Hockey League and the Canadian Hockey League. So the OHL is part of the CHL, and they're right here in our town. And they're obviously a big supporter of the Fanshawe programs, and they've connected quite a relationship over the years. We have others that exist there too, some of them smaller in nature, such as the baseball logo that you see there is one of the local baseball associations that's kind of partnered with us. And then the Y is the YMCA, which is a nonprofit entity that is available throughout a variety of different jurisdictions, but primarily we're working with them in Southwestern Ontario. So what supports are in place to help students? At the college, we have a ton of support. Really, your first go-to area of support would be your professor in each course. So any questions you would have around the course itself or content related questions around material would go to your professor. And then myself, I'm the program coordinator. So if you had questions around the program in general, I would be of assistance that way. And then some of the others that you see there, so academic advisors, peer tutors, the Learning Center and library services, and counseling and accessibility services, they're all support services that are made available to all students at the college, whether it be questions around, how you're progressing in a course and maybe options that you may have depending on your circumstance. Maybe you need assistance, so you'd look at a peer tutor with learning content. Research, so you've got a lot of value-added help in library services, and then our counseling and accessibility offices as well offer a wide range of supports relative to both academic and personal counseling. So what other opportunities are there to get involved? Now this is a little bit unique, being that a lot of the students on this presentation are going to be international students, but just to give you a little bit more of a snapshot of the landscape of our college, we have a significant number of opportunities that revolve around exchange programs and volunteering on campus. FSU is our Fanshawe Student Union that I'll speak to upcoming. And as well, we've got varsity and intramural athletics during a normal period of time, but obviously that's been impacted through the pandemic at this point in time. This just gives you a little bit of an idea of the different countries that we'll have articulation agreements with. So some of our students at the college will go off and explore to maybe complete a semester or two in another country. And we have several different articulation agreements with a variety of different schools throughout the world. And then information around those exchanges for students typically can be made through our international advisor that looks after a lot of those arrangements. FSU service is more applicable to when you're on campus, obviously, because when you're on campus, you're going to have more exposure to the myriad of different things that FSU is involved in. So on campus, we have a whole host of different locations that students can explore. And most importantly, the FSU office is there to offer support and services and provide information to students on campus relative to the different experiences that they can be a part of while they're here on campus at the college. So I wanted to thank you for tuning into the presentation. You'll see my email there. So breid@fanshawe.ca is my direct contact information. If you have any questions around the program specifically, feel free to reach out and let me know. We have a great international office, as Bruno had kind of alluded to some of the perspectives around the international component of the college. Any questions that I have from international students around, they may ask questions around visas or different types of questions around their international experience. I always kind of send them to the international office, and in all cases, pretty much, they come back to me and they can't speak highly enough about the support that's offered through our international office. So any program specific questions that you may have, feel free to reach out to me, but I encourage you to reach out as well to the different contacts that you have, such as Bruno with the international office, if you have questions in that regard. And if you have any other questions about Fanshawe, you can email myfuture@fanshawe.ca, or you can book an appointment with a recruiter, fanshawe.ca/connect. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bill, for providing such insightful information about your program at Fanshawe. Now we are going to move to our Q&A. If you still have any question, please submit to us. We're going to reply to you now. We have one from students asking about GPA. Do you require a minimal GPA for this program?
Great question. So the GPA, because this is a graduate certificate program, the GPA doesn't necessarily apply in the same way as it would with a diploma coming out of high school, for example. So students that have completed an undergraduate degree, as long as they've got that degree in place, then they would be eligible for consideration coming into the program.
Great. We have another one asking about the job opportunities. We already talked about job opportunities, but if you can explain about more how those students can go to the job market, what would be the minimum wage for those students as well?
Yeah, really good question. So really right now everything's been impacted, especially when you talk about event management because of the pandemic. What I have learned over the last few years are the experiences and the opportunities that are presented to students largely come from the networking that they do when they're here completing the program. So a lot of the opportunities that are presented will be who you meet, how involved you are when you go through the program. Really, I think opportunities will essentially get better. And in fact, I mentioned this on my last presentation, I think they'll be really good eventually because a lot of people have either been furloughed or laid off from organizations right now because of the pandemic. And what I've heard is a lot of them are out there getting other jobs. So when things do get back to some sense of normalcy, there's going to be opportunity there, and organizations that are involved in event and sport marketing are going to be looking to hire, right? So from a wage perspective, really it does vary. If you're more of an entry-level kind of sales position, that would be a little bit different than if you're in a management position in an organization. So you don't typically graduate and get a really, really lucrative job with a professional sports organization. You work your way up. But I would suggest that the money would be consistent with the work that's being performed in the certain role.
Great. We have another question regarding to a laptop. Do you require any specific laptop or computer for the students?
Yeah, so the computer requirements, if you go on the Fanshawe website and you search out the requirements for each program, there are actually detailed documents that are provided in the Fanshawe website around computer requirements. In general, what I can tell you in this program is we don't have any unique software requirements for computers to complete this program. So generally, what we would classify as the minimum standard requirement for a computer. It's all available online, but it wouldn't be anything that would be extraordinary.
Great. We have another great question regarding to internship. How the internship works, how Fanshawe helps those students to get this internship?
Yeah, so internships for this program, like I had mentioned in the presentation a little bit, is that we're really trying to kind of influence the students to seek internship opportunities for themselves through networking. There are connections that we will have, and we'll try to work with the students in partnership to find opportunities, but I don't want students to not do any work to kind of look for internships and just expect that an internship is going to be given to them. So we want to kind of work together in partnership to try and find those internship opportunities. The internships will be completed in level 3 of the program. So for example, our first intake is coming in the fall. They're going to take level 2 in the winter semester, and then in the spring, summer, they're going to go out on their internship, and it would encompass relatively a full semester of work.
Great. I have another question regarding to when those students should start the application process.
Yeah, so I would recommend to start as early as possible. So I did actually take, I got a snapshot of our numbers for the winter semester. And the last I checked, we ended up having, I believe it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 students that have applied to come into the program. And I'm not sure if they're, I think they may just be capping it at one section, which essentially would be about 30 students. Which was really intriguing was that a number of the students that had applied were international students. So I believe of 15 students, I think we had 11 applications that were international student applications.
And especially this time, we recommend you to apply earlier, as the visa process time is take a bit longer. So you need to apply in advance so you can apply your visa and start your program at Fanshawe College.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and I have another question regarding to what kind of background would you recommend for those students?
Yeah, so background is interesting. Being it's a grad cert program, we're having students come in from all different areas of academics. So students potentially could come in, you know, maybe with a psychology background or sociology, or maybe they have a marketing background in another area of marketing, not just sport. But really, they can come in from any environment, and we've developed the program in a way where we've infused courses that, you know, are general marketing courses that allow you to build beyond that in sport and event marketing. So some students will come into the program and not really know a whole lot about marketing at all, let alone sport and event management. So we've really developed the program to kind of cater to people that have a variety of different backgrounds. From an interest perspective, there are students that have an interest in sport that come into the program, but we also have some students that have an interest in event management. You guys are not just specific to sports. So those are just different things to think about.
Great. Sometimes we have students doing 2 postgrad programs. What other program would you recommend for those students who want to do 2 programs?
There's a variety of them, and really our career services department are really good in supporting students through those decisions. So it really would be a function of each individual student and what some of their desires or interests are. But I would encourage students that if they are looking at this, we do have other areas of business that have great grad cert programs. So we do have our human resources management program. I predominantly teach in that program, but we also do have our different areas of business inclusive of marketing, and we have others, insurance. There are a whole host of business graduate certificates that are available at the college. So really it's just, it depends on each individual student and what their interests are.
Great. We don't have any question left. If you want to give any advice for students who have been decide which program they want to do, what would be for those students?
Yeah, so for those students, I would definitely reach out to the international office or reach out to our career services departments. And if you go on the Fanshawe website, so fanshawe.ca, explore through the website, and you'll definitely be able to get into those areas where it'll give you information relative to, if you're not sure what you want to do, who you can speak to and who you can contact to maybe get more information on what may be of interest to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Bill. Thank you so much for how you attend here. And if you still have any question, you can send an email to us at myfuture@fanshawe.ci. I just send on the chat. So if you still have any question, how to apply the admissions requirements, you'll be happy to answer. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Bill. Have a great day.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bruno.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.